Well, I'm sure that you have a response to that track we just listened to from the Assistant Secretary of Mieti Allah.
Certainly. I brought the Martin Luther Agway report, and I'll leave it behind for you, because a lot of reference has been made to it to justify some of the actions that have been taken or have been contemplated by government. I have gone through the report, and I can say very clearly that there is nowhere Martin Luther Agway suggested or recommended that government should go to Niger, Chad, Senegal, Mali, and pay compensation to anybody. And I challenge them, the report is here. It's a product, it's a government property. There's no place in that report that says so.
But did the report suggest compensation in any regard?
In fact, what the report says is a holistic approach. Mm-hmm. Because let's go back to the 2011 post-election crisis. This crisis engulfed 12 northern states. And it started in Kaduna State, it started inside Kaduna metropolis. It consumed about 4 or 5 local governments in the center of Kaduna. Kaduna North, Kaduna South, Giwa, Igabi, Benungwari. And for 2 days, it started on the 17th when the results of the election started coming in. Houses, churches, church pastoriums, and individuals were targeted and killed between that time. What happened in Southern Kaduna was on the 18th. So when people start narrating as if Southern Kaduna 2011 is an isolated thing, it's not true.
Now, the governor did not say it was an isolated thing.
No, he keeps saying that
What he said was that this report found that some of the people who were caught in that violence were herdsmen who were returning back to their countries. Does this report say that?
There's no reference to it. I've read the report and I'll leave it for you.
There's no reference to it?
There's no reference to that. And I can tell you, I participated in that, in the commission of inquiry that was set up by government in 2011.
Just a moment.
Yes.
You say that there is no reference to...
There is no reference
to herdsmen who were returning. There is no reference to 2011 post-election conflict.
No, there is a reference to 2011 conflict.
What is the correlation with the 2011 post-election conflict and the pattern of the cycle of conflict that Kaduna faces?
The 2011 crisis, mm-hmm. which, like I have tried to point out, was something that started not in Southern Kaduna, and it took the similar pattern of burning of churches, identifying persons as suspected to be PDP members, even Muslims, and attacking them. And this was done by a particular sect of people who believed that they were either robbed of victory or something. And they unleashed havoc. So I have looked at the report, and like I was telling you, I was counsel to some of these communities in the commission of inquiry set up by government in 2011. I sat throughout the sittings. I participated in the proceedings. There was no single testimony, either written or verbal, that came to that commission of inquiry suggesting that foreigners were victims.
I'm asking.
And I'm saying that there is no way someone between 2011 and 2015, there's no way somebody will wake up in 2015 and invent such a story, which was not tested.
I am asking, this report was submitted in August 2015 or concluded in August 2015.
Yes.
What was the mention of 2011 post-election conflict in relation to in this report?
There are so many things. First of all, the committee realized that the conflict created a lot of bad blood between hitherto peaceful individuals, friends and communities, and made over 39 recommendations. It was not just one off. There are so many things. The committee, for instance, said that certain elements of banditry, criminals were now taking advantage of what happened in 2011 and were now unleashing havoc on various communities by way of armed robbery, kidnapping, and cattle rustling. This committee identified places where these criminal elements were now being hosted. This committee went to Kachia local government, went to Thanga local government, went to Zangon-Kata local government, and came out with names of locations where the bandits were now being camped. And that they come out from those places and attack travelers and attack communities. This committee recommended that government should immediately move into the forest and flush out these bandits. Government never acted on that up to today. And that is the cause of the problem.
That's interesting because you say that, it also talked about it in relation to cattle rustling.
Yes.
One of the accusations of Sokapo is that when cattle rustling, was a problem in southern Kaduna, there was decisive action on it, that the government moved into Kamoku forest and they were able to flush them out. So when you said that government did not do anything about it,
government did not do anything about it in southern Kaduna. Government moved decisively. Government did not talk about building a barracks in Kamoku forest. Government did not talk about reports of previous commissions of inquiry. Government did not talk about academics. Government took action, went into the Kamoku forest, and many of us applauded government for that action. Because you could be traveling to Lagos or Beningwari for your own personal business, and you fall victim. So when government acts like that, you must applaud it. And we did. But when bandits were now coming out from our forest to attack communities, government decided to spring up explanations on behalf of the attackers.
What was the cause of the renewed conflict? Because it would seem that southern Kaduna had been relatively peaceful for a while.
I will tell you, that is what this committee found out. That bandits, criminal elements, were camped in various forests in southern Kaduna, and that they were coming out at will to block the roads, commit robbery. When they identify an isolated village, they go there, attack it, steal cattle, steal property, and withdraw and go back to the village, the forest.
So this conflict for you then, it's not about Fulani people against the people of southern Kaduna?
Let me tell you, there has been a consistency since the heightening of the current onslaught. And the consistency is that the Fulani have allowed themselves to become the brand name, because communities that have been sacked, villages that have been sacked and destroyed, Fulanis now come in with their cattle and settle there. And these are not foreign Fulanis.
You have villages that have been sacked in
so
southern
many.
Kaduna that Fulani...
Akwa, Ninte, Gidanwaya is sacked, Pasakori is sacked.
And that is still the state till today?
Sure. Nobody can go there.
Even in spite of the renewed security presence?
I can tell you that absolutely. Our people who are the inhabitants of those villages have had all their houses destroyed. And the people who destroyed those houses have brought their cattle and they are living there.
There are two different scenarios you paint. You say that a group of bandits, who live in the forest, do these attacks on people. I say it means then that you have, no problem with the Fulani people. You say, no, you do not have any problem with them, but that the Fulani people have allowed themselves be the brand name because they come and settle. But now you also allege that the people who destroyed it also settle there.
That it's very difficult to draw a demarcation between who destroyed and who takes over. Because unless you have a league with the person doing the army work of destroying the community, you can't come in and settle there. You can't. Then let me tell you,
one of the things
in all the attacks, the Miete Allah has owned up to the attacks. Virtually in all the communities, because they bring up explanation as to why the attack took place. In every village, they will give you one story. It's either their cattle was stolen or one Ardo was killed, I had Nasiru talking about that in reference to Ninte.
Are you talking about
that
the
Ninte was attacked because an Ardo was killed and his house destroyed by Southern Kaduna people in that environment. And so there was a reprisal. So when you have people who own up to the destruction and they are representing the Fulani.
Mr. Mark Jacob, we know that, there's definitely plenty of, annoyance.
Yes.
But, if this report is still talking about 2011 election crisis, can we totally rule out politics?
Who was in charge of the political war? If we bring in politics, I will give you a political interpretation. The people who lost election in 2011 and were aggrieved and physically came out to attack people are the ones that should be held responsible. Because those who won election were celebrated. Those who lost in 2011 were the aggrieved ones. And yes, in the whole of northern Nigeria, they came out attacking and killing and destroying.
Mr. Mark Jacobs, I understand that we're already out of time. Just quickly, how would you say then that we proceed with the solutions?
First of all, the governor of Kaduna State should stop talking. Because every time he opens his mouth, he says the wrong thing. He should stop talking and get to work. Nobody hates him. Nobody wants to bring him down. But he's bringing himself down. You cannot isolate the people and declare them your enemy and expect that you will win. You can never win.
That's where we'll have to leave it. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily. We've been speaking with Mr. Mark Jacobs, who is a former Attorney General and Minister of Justice in Kaduna State. Sunrise Daily will continue in just a moment. Do stay with us.